Welcome into Out of Bounds. Alongside with John Luck, I'm Brian Berard. Before we first get into the show, a little reminder of our social media pages. Of course, you can go to our Twitter page and like us at BTVOB. Of course, you can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/BTVOB and follow us there. Post our shows up there and post some articles that I write. I don't know if John wants to write some, but...
Do you really want me writing anything?
Yeah, John, I want you writing stuff. All right, so John, we're now approaching the fall sports season. Are you excited that fall sports are starting to come back?
I can't wait. Finally, something other than baseball
to
watch.
Greatest sport ever. Baseball has been on all summer, and
the greatest sport has yet to happen.
Yeah, you're right. Curling has yet to happen. I am sorry for all those curling people.
Basketball.
All right. So we'll start off with our fall sports, and we'll talk about the New England Patriots. They have 2 preseason games under their belt. Of course, they beat the Washington Redskins, and the Philadelphia Eagles got that Super Bowl redemption win, John. I know it was huge. Everyone looks forward to that second preseason game to get those Super Bowl redemption wins.
Of course.
But, John, give me some quick takeaways that you noticed from the first 2 preseason games.
So from the first 2 preseason games, it looks like Tom Brady is going to continue to be Tom Brady. If you can give him enough time to survey the field, and he had enough time, I think, in the Philadelphia game, but don't forget about the big injury that happened in that Philadelphia game. You lost Isaiah Wynn, and I think Cordell Patterson in the first half of the Philadelphia game really stuck out as a receiver that could make a difference this season. As far as Washington is concerned, they got behind early. They came back and won the game really with the second and third stringers, so certainly give all the players on the roster credit there.
What really stood out to me was Tom Brady played essentially the entire first half of that Philadelphia game. He didn't play that one kneel down that Brian Hoyer came in. It did flawlessly, by the way.
He did.
But, I mean, Brady looked like that old Brady. And we'll take a look at the receivers, but it didn't matter who he had as a receiver on his team. It did matter a little bit. Like, he had some good rapport there with Edelman, of course, and Philip Dorsett. He had that one pass to Cordell Patterson. English is hard.
Cordero, yes.
But I believe it's pronounced Cordero.
It's like Tyrod or Tyrod.
Tyrod, that's right. God, I can't believe we've been naming that guy wrong the whole time. Anyways.
At least his career meant something,
So
really.
the one pass that Cordero Patterson caught, which was a touchdown, was just a wide receiver screen, and it was kind of nothing in the red zone. But let's take a look at the receivers here, because as you see there, that big asterisk right there, Edelman suspended the first 4 games. Chris Hogan, Kenny Britt, Eric Decker, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. John, who makes the team and who gets cut from that list?
So looking at that list, obviously Chris Hogan would be a popular choice. Eric Decker, I think he may be one of those surprise cuts of the 53-man roster, just because from what I've been reading on social media, it seems like he's been the one player that's had a difficult time getting synced up with Tom Brady. But I think the surprise pick may be Riley McCarron. He's done a lot of trading with Wes Welker when he was with the Houston Texans, and Welker actually is the wide receiver coach with the Houston Texans. So I think he could be a surprise pick. And Cordell Patterson, I think, is probably going to play a surprise role on this team in the first 4 games because, let's face it, you don't really have a lot of options.
Well, I feel like Patterson came in as just a special team guy. Everyone's just kind of touting him as a punt returner and a kick returner. You can maybe play opposite of Matthew Slater when it comes to punt coverage and kick coverage and stuff like that. I don't really see Cordell Patterson, being a big influence in this offense. As long as you still have Edelman, I know he's out for the first 4 games, and as long as you still have Chris Hogan that he has that rapport with, and Philip Dorsett, and don't forget he still has Rob Gronkowski to throw to.
Plus he had James White as well for those short dink and dunk passes. That really is a Patriots staple. So the short game is probably going to be the way the Patriots win a lot of these games this season anyways.
All right, so the third preseason game, the Patriots travel down to Jacksonville. Of course, it's a rematch of the AFC Championship game. Are we going to see anything special in that game, or are we just going to see kind of business as usual? Do you think the Jaguars are going to come out a little fired up, or is it just it's preseason, who cares?
Jaguars? Isn't that the Panthers?
No, I think they're going to Jacksonville.
It's Carolina.
Are you sure?
It's Carolina.
I'm pretty sure it's Jacksonville.
Rolling.
She left. She's like, what?
Unfortunately, Brian, John is right.
Oh, it's
whoa. What do you mean, unfortunately, John's right? You mean big surprise here? Not really.
Will be playing the Carolina Panthers.
All right, well, we can...
I thought I was not paying attention again.
I thought it was Jacksonville.
No, they play, I think, in week 3 of the regular season.
Well, I'm an idiot.
And that's on camera now, too.
I know.
Yeah. September 16th is when they play Jacksonville.
All right, well,
Jumped ahead just a tad.
I got my name. I got
Wake
my things.
me up when September ends.
Wake me up. All right. Well, we'll just do, all right, week 3 against Luke Kuechly. Cam Newton, and no, what's his ass there because they hate each other, Kelvin Benjamin.
Huh.
Yeah, they were talking shit, and Benjamin's out of town.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I think they played each other in the first preseason game, and they're like, oh, fuck you.
Just like that.
Yeah, all right. All right, so week 3 of the preseason, of course, barreling down at us. They're playing the Carolina Panthers in week 3. John, remember last time they went down there, that controversial PI call against Rob Gronkowski with Luke Kuechly in the end zone. They threw the flag, wasn't a flag, but do you think they're going to remember that moment, or is it just preseason business as usual?
I think it's preseason business as usual. Honestly, Rob Gronkowski probably not going to play. I honestly wonder how much, though, Julian Edelman's going to play with a lot of the first teamers, because now you have to try and get into your game mode. Week 3 of the preseason typically is a dress rehearsal for the regular season. So a dress rehearsal means you're not going to have Julian Edelman there for the first 4 weeks. Do we see Chris Hogan take more of a step as far as the top receiving option? Do we see them break out the typical offense, or is this going to just be another game of hand the ball off, make sure nobody leaves injured? Because don't forget, you did lose Wynn with that Achilles tear, so who's going to be able to protect Tom Brady from the defensive players like Thomas Davis, Dontari Poe, Luke Kuechly of the Carolina Panthers, a very defensive-minded football team in Carolina.
Now, another big question I have about this team is, what do you do with Brian Hoyer? In those first 2 preseason games, it was not good when he faced the first and second team defense. When he played that third team defense, that's when he started, working his magic. But I'm almost wondering if the Patriots are going to let go of Hoyer and try to really groom Etling to be that backup quarterback. But to me, it's just Hoyer does not look good at all.
It wouldn't be surprising to see Hoyer actually get cut by week 3 or 4 of the preseason, and maybe you see what's getting cut from other teams. Maybe, throwing a name out there, I don't think it would have happened, but maybe like a Robert Griffin III, or is there another draft pick that gets cut? Or do you think about bringing a Colin Kaepernick in just for his football reasons, just to give something of an option behind Tom Brady? Because I don't think Danny Etling's your guy.
I think they want more of a pocket passer. I don't think RG3 or Colin Kaepernick, they're more of a mobile quarterback. I don't know if they're really going to be a bit of an option.
Just more of a contract option, just someone if Tom Brady ever gets hurt or anything like that, just an option to put out there, because Danny Etling isn't your guy. So a guy who's at least NFL ready, not maybe in the Patriots system, but just something to throw out there.
Julian Edelman. Played quarterback at Kent State.
Just make sure it's on the first 4 weeks.
I think he has a perfect passer rating in the playoffs, so that's fine. All right, so we'll end our Patriots talk with that, and then we're going to move on to John's favorite team, the Boston Red Sox. He loves himself some good. That's littering. That's just so rude.
I'll pick that.
So we'll talk about the Red Sox, but more importantly, we're going to talk about that Red Sox bullpen. We know their offense is amazing. We know their starting pitching is, pretty darn good. This bullpen has been absolutely atrocious, especially since the All-Star break. Look at these ERAs. I mean, Craig Kimbrell, your All-Star closer, a 5.23 ERA since the All-Star break. I mean, everyone there is in the threes except for Ryan Brazier, who came on July 9th. But these are, John, I don't know what to do when I see these ERAs. I'm sitting there going, you're going to have to rely on your starting pitchers to go all 9 innings.
Well, I think if you go back to April or March, I think I said something to the effect of, the Red Sox have to watch the bullpen, make sure they don't get overused. And what happened? They got overused.
I don't think they got overused. They just stink.
Rick Porcello this season is averaging about 5 2/3, 6 inning. Chris Sale, same thing. David Price, same thing. Then you have these bonus bullpen days when you have Hector Velasquez starting. You're putting a toll on your bullpen for most of the season. Joe Kelly, 55 games, 51 innings pitched. Matt Barnes, 53 games, 54 innings pitched. These are just a lot of innings for the guys who are supposed to be your setup to Craig Kimbrell, who is a mental case, and he has to have everything perfect for him to come in and save the game.
All right, I don't think it's that. I think it's the fact that they can't throw a strike to save their lives. I mean, their whip is in the 3s and 4s. As a relief pitcher, you want it to be below 3. You do not want that high number. And it's just been boggling to see how none of them can hit the strike zone to save their lives. I mean, remember the 4-game series where the Red Sox swept the Yankees, and you brought in Kimbrell when you had the 4-0 lead, and he gave up a run. You go, well, this guy's going to blow it. He had a 4-run. That's not even a save situation, and the guy's still going to blow it. And you sit there and you watch it and you go, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing it again. The one pitcher that I actually trust is Ryan Brazier. He had some Major League experience several years ago with the Angels. This year he's been pretty darn good, and I think he should be your new 8th inning guy.
The only issue is you're going to run into the same issue that you had with Barnes or Kelly or Hembry, your other 8th inning guys, and is Alex Cora going to go to him one time too many and end up getting burned? In my eyes, the month of September is going to be Alex Cora's season. He's going to be the most important member of this Boston Red Sox team because he has to watch these innings. He has to watch these starts. He has to make sure he gets everything perfectly timed so you get your relievers the right rest, the right in the right situation, give them the right opportunity, because what you do in September is most likely going to dictate what happens in October. Because if you go through and have Ryan Brazier throwing something like 16, 17, 18 innings in the month of September, just how effective is he going to be by the time you get to October?
All right, well, we'll take a look at the AL East standings here in just a second. But, John, it's ironically right now they have a 9-game lead, and we're approaching September. And we all remember that lovely September of 2011.
Yes,
but
we do, Brian. Chicken and beer.
I don't think it's going to be along the same lines as that. But the Orioles, 15.5 games out. I mean, seriously.
Now they probably won't end up taking you over on the last day of the season.
You don't know, John. You don't know. But you had a game last night against the Cleveland Indians. Now, it wasn't the bullpen that blew that, but you can somewhat kind of blame the bullpen for that because even though Rick Porcello did give up those runs, you wonder if Alex Cora wanted to go to his bullpen earlier, but he doesn't trust anyone. So if you're Cora, who do you trust in this bullpen other than Kimbrel, because you kind of have to?
So at this point, besides Brazier and I guess Kimbrel because he has to be a closer, it's kind of just reaching your hand in the hat and seeing what name gets pulled out. I mean, Hembree has been a guy that can maybe go a little longer, but in my eyes, Drew Pomeranz, why is Drew Pomeranz out there in the 9th inning of a close game? You have a guy that has an ERA of 6+ out there. I mean, the bullpen's just a nightmare for the Red Sox. In my eyes, I think this could be the one thing that may derail the Red Sox success.
Well, for me, I think it's Tyler Thornburg. He's had a pretty decent stretch since the All-Star game, and he's starting to lower that ERA. So for me, it's Thornburg in your 7th inning, Brazier in the 8th, and you bring in Kimbrel in the 9th. Unless if it's one of those games where you're up by 10 or down by 10, you can bring in other players or other pitchers. But to me, if you're at the trade deadline and you didn't go out and you didn't really get a power bullpen arm, that's going to be the fall of the Red Sox. And if they keep this up, it's another first-round exit for the Red Sox, I think.
Well, think about the past couple of years, the acquisitions they made. They got Addison Reed, they got Brad Ziegler. Just another pitcher in there that can come in, maybe mix things up in the 7th and 8th inning. But to go along with their thinking of having Thornburg in the 7th and Brazier in the 8th, that's a great idea. It's just Alex Cora tries to do that every single night. At some point, you have to give these pitchers a break, especially Thornburg, who hasn't pitched before the All-Star break in, 2 years almost?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the Red Sox do. But on the other side of the break, we're going to talk some Boston Celtics as one of their players is a little too confident going into the season. Don't go anywhere more. Out of bounds right after this.
Gosh, Darlene, it sure is amazing how much we have in common.
I know, Larry. We both love 3-car pileups. We both were built in Buffalo.
And we both know wearing safety belts helps save thousands of lives.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
Don't mind Vince. He's getting over a bad breakup.
I know. Janet's picking up the pieces, too. They're in here.
I wish they understood it's all worth it to get people to buckle up.
Hey, lacerated lovebirds, I sense a major crush.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Talk about head over heels.
Welcome back to Out of Bounds. We'll talk some Patriots, some Red Sox, and now we're going to talk about, unfortunately, the Boston Celtics.
There's no unfortunately.
Yes. Jaylen Brown has guaranteed a spot in the NBA Finals for the Boston Celtics. And let's take a look at his exact quote after being asked about LeBron James. He says, "Oh, we're getting to the finals, no question about it. I hate how everyone is like, oh, LeBron is gone in the East. I know we did have a stronghold on the East for the last 7 years, but barely got us out of there this year. And our mindset is like, man, he's not beating us again." John, is this kid too cocky?
I mean, he might be right. Who knows? But it's great to see one of these younger players that he is starting to develop into a starting role actually come out and get behind his team. We see a lot of these players taking the quiet route. Donovan Mitchell, maybe one of them from Utah, If we play everything right, if we have the right mindset, get everything going from day one, we'll be fine. Jaylen Brown, I think he may be speaking truth. I think the Celtics may be guaranteed for the NBA Finals.
You have such a skewed view of this. Every single year you come in here and you say the Celtics are going to run through the East. They're going to get to the NBA Finals. They're finally going to do it this year. You finally had Game 7 at home, and then what happened? You built a brick house with a missed shot.
I've said it before that they choked in Game 7.
Every single year you say, Banner 18's coming, Banner 18, and it never comes.
At some point it has to be right, Brian. If you play 400 quick picks, you'll get one right.
Oh, so here's the thing. I admire his confidence. I really, really do. But you have a player now in Kyrie Irving who I think is 1 foot out the door now because he wants to leave. He wants to join with Jimmy Butler. And you're not bringing both of them in here with Gordon Hayward. You simply don't have the money.
If you pay enough money to Kyrie Irving, he'll probably stay.
You don't have the money.
Yes, you can. You'll find the money.
You'll find the money. How are you going to find the money? Sell your house?
No, the Celtics already said.
You're going to lease out the garden for birthday parties?
Why not? We'll have the Christmas party there. The Celtics said they'll go over the luxury tax to keep this core unit of players together.
Okay, so when you keep this core unit of players together, I can't believe core unit after 1 year. That's definitely a good core. When Kyrie Irving's knee finally blows out again because those rods were taken out, and you still have Gordon Hayward that's coming back. He's not going to be 100% confident in that ankle when he comes back, especially if he gets another pass from Kyrie Irving.
He's been dunking back and forth.
But he hasn't got a pass from Kyrie Irving. Wait until he gets that. Now, here's the thing. I'll give the kid credit here because it's the question that he was asked. It's what else do you want him to say? We're going to try our hardest.
Yeah. Do you believe Boston will get to the finals after LeBron James' departure from the Cavs? Yes, he'll get to the finals.
Okay, so John, when they don't get to the Eastern Conference semis, then what?
If they don't get to the Eastern Conference semis, something went terribly wrong.
Yeah, your coach of the year doesn't know how to coach. That's what happened. Oh, that's right. He didn't win coach of the year because he realized, you know what? If we keep missing threes, let's just keep putting them up. They'll go in eventually. Right? That's what John's saying. Oh, you got to keep playing the same thing. Eventually it's going to work.
At some point it'll work, Brian. I already said Game 7 was a choke job by Brad Stevens. I said that. Congratulations.
Okay, so do you think that Jaylen Brown's going to now be a leader on this team because he said that?
I think so, and it's great having a younger leader. I mean, if Kyrie is
now, wasn't this a guy that everyone thought maybe you can use him as a trade piece?
Yes.
But now he's a leader?
Yeah,
Green team, you guys really got to figure out where you're going with
Brian,
this.
You know what?
You are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde here.
It's great to start every day off. It's like you rip the page off the calendar. This is my Celtics take for the day.
Weren't you going to trade him to get Kevin Durant, and all of a sudden now he's your leader? I mean, come on.
We weren't going to trade him for Kevin Durant. I forget who we were going to trade him for, but it wasn't Kevin Durant.
Or Boogie Cousins or whoever?
No.
Sorry, whomever.
Hey, you have to get your English right here, Brian. Jaylen Brown, I think, is going to be important for the team. If it's not as a role player or a leader of the team, then he's going to get you one heck of a haul back. And I think that's how the Celtics view him. He's either going to be your leader or he's going to get you a boatload of future assets back.
Okay, so which one do you want him to be?
I want him to be the leader.
Okay, so then what are you going to do with Jason Tatum?
Listen, I don't know why people are trying to blow the Celtics up here.
I'm not trying to blow the Celtics up, but you have a kid that has never been to the NBA Finals. He has, 2 NBA postseasons under his belt?
There's only one player on the Celtics that's been to the finals.
Yeah, okay, but then why do you have all this confidence in the world?
Listen.
Is it because he's just young and dumb and hasn't experienced mistakes yet?
The question was, can Boston get to the finals after LeBron James departs from the Cavs? Yes. What do you want him to say? No, I don't think we can. No. At this point in his career, it's great to have all the confidence in your team. It's great to have all the confidence in yourself. What do you want him to say? No, I think we're going to suck in.
Oh, no, I don't want him to say that. Just be like, look, it's a long season. Because, if you say something like that, and I think he knew that you're going to have a lot of people say, oh, are they getting a little too confident? But you like to see that confidence. You definitely want to see that out of the Celtics.
They're going to be the mark team in the East no matter what, whether he says this or not.
Well, they're still going to lose to the Philadelphia 76ers.
They're not going to lose to the 76ers.
It happens. All right. We'll end our basketball talk with that. John, once again, is a green teamer that has been wearing too thick of the green goggles. You can't really see straight. It happens. It's fine. It's fine. So we'll end our Boston sports talk with that, and we did last week on the show. Well, not last week, 2 weeks ago on our last
get your
show.
schedule right, Brian.
I don't want to. I don't like getting the right schedule.
I can see the schedule of my green teamer goggles.
I'm sure you can. So last episode we previewed Bridgewater State University football. This episode will preview Bridgewater Rainham football. For the second straight year, they went to the South Sectional Final but lost to King Philip. Shane Fromer is no longer on King Philip this year, so John, does BR have a legitimate chance of finally making it back to Gillette Stadium and winning Division II South Sectional?
It could be pretty difficult. You talk about Shane Fromer not being on King Philip anymore. BR had their fair share of losses as well. Bryce Shaw, Devontae Graves, Corey Sullivan all graduated their routes. So now you're looking for a new quarterback. You're looking for a couple of running backs. I think as far as your receiving game goes, Jeff CCO, he's going to be coming back. So I think the passing game is going to be fine, but you're still missing a couple of very key parts of your football team as far as your quarterback and your running backs.
Yeah, Jeff CCO was a Boston Herald preseason all-mentionable, didn't make the first or second team. He's getting a lot of attention from UConn and Michigan, two Division I schools that were really impressed with him in summer workouts and whatnot. But it looks like our quarterback this year is most likely going to be Jules Wiggins. William Lombard's probably going to be your running back. But you're right, John. They lost a lot of key players at key positions. And you're going to have to wonder if Wiggins and CCO can really connect. And their first game of the year is at home against Duxbury, a team that last year, John, you and I went down to Duxbury. We went down the wrong way of a do not enter, but it happens.
You know what? Not only did you not go down the wrong way of the do not enter, but you said, you know what, we're on our way out, do not enter. Let's go 2 for 2. We'll go against
You know what, I saw everyone else was doing it, so I said, why not? I can do it.
So if everyone jumped off the bridge, we're going 2. Let's go.
Well, depends. Depends on if the water's warm.
I thought you were going to say depending on the bridge.
Oh, no. No, but so I think to me the biggest loss is Bryce Shaw because, he was a very good offensive player at fullback, but really defensively as a linebacker position, he was such a key player for you. And I believe he also lost out on Danny Taylor this year, if I'm not mistaken, for Bridgewater Rainham. So you have a very experienced offensive line coming back from last year. That's very good. We saw in the Thanksgiving game, William Lombard got a lot of carries in that game. He looked relatively well. Then again, it was against the Brockton team that had already given up. Mm-hmm. But this year for Bridgewater Rainham, how much do you think it's going to help you now that their schedule's flipped? They have 5 home games this year as opposed to 3 last year.
Well, you look at the schedule right there, and the important thing is your big games against Duxbury, Xaverian, Dartmouth, who could threaten you for the OCL title. Those are all games at home. Your only road games are at New Bedford, at Barnstable, at Brockton. And going off of the past few years, I mean, those teams have been not very good. So I think this is a schedule for BR that they need, trying to develop these younger players, especially Wiggins and Lombard. Give them an opportunity to play in front of the home crowd. And, I mean, obviously BR will most likely qualify for the playoffs. It's just going to come down to what seed do they get.
Yeah, I'd say that's a playoff schedule for the Trojans. I mean, I'm really curious how well they do against Duxbury. Obviously, Xaverian's a huge game every year when they play.
St. John's Prep.
And St. John's Prep as well. And, of course, in the OCL, you only have to beat Dartmouth and Barnstable to win. Dartmouth, they won the state championship a couple of seasons ago, but they're starting to become younger. They're starting to turn over now. But it's going to be a really interesting season to see what the Trojans do, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in that Duxbury game, first home game. And it's great for you and I because we don't have to travel that much to finally. I mean, BTV plans to cover all 5 of their home games, and of course, our joint production with Brockton Community Access on Thanksgiving morning at 10 a.m. And what is BR going for their 9th win in that series, I believe? 8th or 9th?
8th or something. I know Brockton's only won once.
Yeah, it's really hasn't been that pretty.
Time for a new Thanksgiving opponent, Brian. Hit the road.
We played Randolph 2 years, East Bridgewater 2 years. I mean, finally you have someone that's a stable Thanksgiving Day opponent.
At some point, you can only beat a team so much before they just take the ball and go home.
Look, I'm sure it'll turn over, but whatever. It's like the BR Silver Lake rivalry when BR just ran the table at Silver Lake. All right. Anyways, well, we're not going to end quite right there, but on the other side of the break, we'll have our final thoughts. And John and I are going to have some final thoughts that may surprise you a little bit. Don't go anywhere. More Out of Bounds right after this.
Hi there. I'm the Abominable Snowman. Did you know that you are the boss of your own money? That's a special thing. You can buy the first thing that catches your eye, like this catcher's mitt, or something that costs less, like this balloon, or costs more, like this swell dolly, or several different things. Or you can save it for something you haven't even thought of yet. You're the boss. It's your choice. It's your money. So think before you spend.
Welcome back to Out of Bounds. As always, we'll end the show with our final thoughts. So, John, your final thoughts for the show.
All right, I can't believe I'm using this as my final thought, but I'm going to talk some baseball here, not the Red Sox. We're going to talk about the Paw Sox. Obviously, they're moving to Worcester, leaving behind Pawtucket after something like a 40-year partnership. But People look at this as a money move, and it is, but maybe for the right reason, because Pawtucket over the past few years haven't been behind the Paw Sox, averaging in the bottom of the International League AAA. This year, they're 11th out of 15 teams, averaging just under 6,000 a night. The Paw Sox gave Pawtucket, Providence, and Rhode Island all an opportunity to try and keep this team in Rhode Island, which would be a huge boost financially for the state. But they didn't want to do that, so Massachusetts came along, Worcester came along, the Polar Seltzer Company came along, and this is getting done. The Paw Sox are going to Worcester, and looking at some of these figures of what it took to get Worcester here, to get the Paw Sox to go to Worcester, or the Woo Sox, whatever they are now, Woo.
The dirty Woo.
Yeah, there you go. Worcester's borrowing $100 million. The team's going to pay $30 million. The city of Worcester is going to have $70 million of their own, and the state's going to kick in $35 compared to what Rhode Island was going to give. The team is going to give $45. They're going to give more money to stay in Rhode Island, but then the city of Pawtucket was going to kick in $15 million. That's what, $55 million less than Worcester was going to give, and the state was going to kick in $23 million, $12 million less than Massachusetts was going to give. So Larry Lucchino had his hands full here. The people of Pawtucket didn't want to come out to see the Paw Sox. Now they're getting all butthurt because their team's getting moved up the road to Worcester. Honestly, Paw Sox fans, if you wanted to watch a team, you probably should have shown up for the past 5 years instead of just using this as a random night out.
Well, the Paw Sox will still be in Pawtucket for the next 2 years before they move to Worcester.
But then there'll be tears flying.
But the funny thing, when I saw that, like the Pawtucket Red Sox, posted something on Facebook, and all the comments were like, "I'm never going to support you again. I'm never going to." I'm like, no one even went to you didn't even go in the first place. What's it matter?
They had a night where they were the hot wieners and nobody showed up.
It made ESPN though.
Well, howdy-da. That's why they're moving to Worcester.
But the thing that really interests me, and John, you and I had a group conversation going with some other people here at BTV. It's what do you do with the Worcester Bravehearts at the FCBL? Do you keep them in Worcester or do you move them?
I mean, honestly, FCBL or a team that's basically one step shy of Fenway. I mean, potato here.
Well, I understand that, but it's what do you? The Bravehearts, I think, had the most fans, or on average, the highest attendance in the FCBL. But
I mean, maybe you can work a partnership out because apparently in that agreement they're going to give all the Worcester school kids a free pair of tickets to go to a Woo Sox game. So maybe you can work something out with the Bravehearts, maybe where they play their games at whatever stadium they're going to have in Worcester.
All right, well, go Woo Sox, I guess.
Woo!
So John loves his baseball, so that's what he had his final thought on. And I know John and I always have the most hotly debated hockey talk. So I'll end my show with the final thoughts of hockey. I know, John, you and I we really get invested into our hockey talk.
I think it's more intense than our Celtics discussion.
Yeah, it really is more intense. Yeah. But a pretty cool thing that happened. This is the 5th annual ComAv Classic. It features alumni from Boston College and alumni from Boston University. And it goes out to those who have suffered spinal cord injuries and ALS, Pete Frates, Travis Roy, Dick Kelly, amongst others. It's a pretty cool event. I mean, of course, we saw Brooks Orpik, who just won the Stanley Cup this year. And he actually spoke to a lot of the athletic personnel within Boston College. But we have Charlie McAvoy, Matt Grzelcyk from the Bruins, who played for BU. I can't think of the kids.
Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah,
right?
Johnny Gaudreau, obviously. There's so many cool things about this, and obviously it's not hard hitting. They're not going to go out there and beat the bejesus out of each other.
Cool.
But it's such a cool thing. You put that rivalry to the side, and you just play for a good cause. And this year it's going to be taking place at Walter Brown Arena on the campus of Boston University, and it's going to take place this Friday. So it's a pretty cool thing, the ComAv Classic featuring BC and BU. And last year, my BC Eagles won that one. I'll just give you a final reminder of our social media pages. You go to Facebook at facebook.com/BTVOB, and you can follow us on Twitter at BTVOB. So for the final
hashtag that we use for PC.
No, we can't. So for the last time, for John Luck, I'm Brian Berard. Thanks for watching Out of Bounds.